Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie.
Hello, Miss Marie. How are you today?
Good morning, Rob. I am fantastic. How about yourself?
I am the same. I went again, second day in a row. I feel good. I went to bed, got my energy up because I got rest. You know, it's almost like plugging your phone in when you recharge. You get good sleep, and guess what? You feel great. You know, it's amazing what sleep can do, right?
That's awesome. I think we've done the sleeping swap this week. It seems like you're getting good sleep, and I'm running more on your schedule for a change.
Oh no!
What's up with that?
I don't know. Well, I hope I haven't rubbed off on you. We don't want that.
Yeah, you're contagious.
Yeah, evidently so. Well, we need to change that because you don't need to be having that kind of schedule. But I totally get it. There's times where life demands, even if we weren't entrepreneurs, even if we weren't in business, sometimes life demands that we have change. And sometimes that change is, guess what? You don't always sleep the way you want to.
Yep, that is accurate. It's always a juggle for me. It's like I'll lay in bed for a minute. It's like, well, should I just lay here and try to go back to sleep? Should I get up and do something useful?
Yes, yeah. There you go. I remember when the one thing I don't try and do is I will not take medication to make myself tired. If I'm not tired, I'm not tired. I recognize that. I'm not going to artificially stimulate my body into thinking that something's going on that's not. In other words, sleeping pills, et cetera, et cetera. Now, of course, I don't have a chronic disease, insomnia and things like that. I understand people taking medication for that. Thank God for modern medicine. I would much rather live today where I can overcome an impacted tooth versus in the 1800s where you die from that tooth.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take today's modern medicine, even with all the faults that it has, okay? Because guess what? I have a choice, and I have great choices. I'm not going to go down this road. But the point is that if I'm tired, Miss Marie, you're right. If I'm sitting there saying, okay, I don't know why, I'm not tired, I'm not ready to go to sleep, I'll get up. In the old days, when I was fully retired, I would get up and read. And I love to read. And it wouldn't be within an hour, and I would be, ready to go to bed. Or if not, fall asleep in the chair, whatever. So that always worked out for me. Nowadays, like you said, I'd say, okay, you know what? I'm obviously not going to be able to sleep, and I'll get up, come down to the office, and get to work because I have plenty of work to do. The work never seems to stop, and I know that it won't. But the thing is, that's a conscious choice on my part. I could still sit down and read, but like you, I want to get a jump on my day because if I get things done when I'm not sleepy, guess what, Miss Marie? That frees up time during the day that I can do things I want to do, and that includes taking a nap. So even though I'm getting up earlier and putting in working hours, I do that knowing that it gives me options down the road through the day. And I like that.
Oh, yeah. I remember being young as a child, it's like being told it's nap time and you feel like you're missing out on things. It's like, oh, I hated it. And now it's like I look back and I'm like, man, the nap's pretty awesome. What was I doing?
Yes. And, I hate naps. I've always hated naps. I can remember as a kid hating naps, having a fit if my mom said, take a nap. And, of course, if I threw a fit, my dad would straighten that up real quick. So that didn't last long. But the point is that even as an adult, I hated taking naps. As I've gotten older, in my late 50s until now, I am more open to taking a nap than ever before. And if I get tired, I certainly will, because I realize how important it is to my health today and even down the road. And people realize that the investment you're making into the basics of your physical well-being, okay, resting. Miss Marie, there's times where I don't want to get up to work in the office. And you know what I do? I lay there comfortably and I meditate. Believe it or not, I'm not big into meditating, but what I do is I close my eyes and I say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to relax. And I'll breathe in through my nose and I'll let out through my mouth. Just basic things. And it's kind of like a semi-meditative state. And like I said, I'm not big into that, but I certainly see the benefits of it. The point is, I'm relaxing. I'm releasing that stress. And as I breathe in, I said, taking in the good and releasing the bad, meaning I'm taking in the breath, okay, and releasing that stress, and I'll check my body to see if I'm tense right here in my jawline, see if I have my teeth clenched, if I'm, like this. And my point is that I'll get even though I can't go to sleep, I'll get myself to relax if I don't want to read, if I don't want to work. The point is, because I realize that the times I do that now is an investment 10 years down the road for my health, if that makes sense. I can't carry that kind of stress around at this age.
Yep, I can appreciate that. Although I acquired the joy of naps when I was a teenager, I think. So I've been a few decades ahead of you in that one. Sometimes you just got to sleep when you're tired and you have the opportunity.
There it is right there. And I understand that more than ever before. And I take advantage of it and understand the importance of it. So there you go, guys. There's some health tips before we get the show.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us for the MLM Solutions Health segment.
That's right. Now on to the real important stuff. But yeah, no, we as we get older, we realize, or at least I think most people do, that the better part of your life is behind you. And if you want to have a high quality of life, you better start taking signals from your body, because it's trying to tell you something. And I limit my alcohol exposure. I limit my sun exposure. I don't crawl in the hole and hide, that's for sure. But at the same time, I've gotten a lot smarter about, I don't chase that sun anymore, if you know what I mean.
I'm a 5-minute fry, so I've avoided the sun all my life. I mean, you can probably tell, those of you that watch the videos, I am much whiter than Rob is.
Yeah, I've always had a natural pigmentation that's darker, that's for sure. And it doesn't take anything from me if I'm out in the sun. The wife's like, oh my gosh, because I mean, within hours, poof, it's like a different person. And
same here, except I'm bright red.
Yeah. Well, there's times I have that for whatever reason. And I've been going to the dermatologist the last 3 years, almost like every 4 months. And I just went, and they did a bunch, removed a bunch, where they use that, where they freeze all the things off. I got a bunch on, believe it or not, on my scalp, and I got one right here, and I got some on my shoulder. I've had them on my ears and all this and that. You know why I have all that? Because when we were younger, folks, you did anything you could to get as dark as you could. Remember that? That was the fad back then.
Yeah.
I guess it still is. And when we were growing up, guys, there was no such thing as protective sunscreen. It was, hey, this will make you darker than dark. I mean, the whole marketing was, I'll make you so dark that your parents will disown you.
Slather up on the baby oil and lay out back.
You don't look like my son. So, because your hair turns whiter or lighter or blondish, and you get really dark skinned, and it's like, wow, that doesn't look like the same person. I remember meeting some girls, over the summer. You take a school, summer break from school, and you see them at the beginning of school. You're like, you have to take a double take. Not only do they change physically because we're all growing, but is that the same person? Because you never saw them with a suntan. You never saw them with being that dark and their hair being lighter, and they look like a different person. So it's quite an amazing transformation. But if only we knew back then that we know now, right?
Well, my natural sunburnedness definitely protected me, because I have people tell me nowadays, oh, you have such beautiful skin. It's like, yeah, lack of sun exposure. Fortunate on my part.
Well, you were the only smart one of the bunch, because the rest of
it wasn't smart. It was just by default.
Well, I've, how can I say, I was a lifeguard, believe it or not, as well. And you were constantly out in the sun. And you'll never guess where the number one problem for lifeguards as far as skin cancer on our body, what part of our body got the worst sun. You'll never guess. I never knew it.
I would think the legs.
Well, you're close. You would think the top of the ears, because we didn't have that white chalk back in the day. You would think the forehead, the top of your head, because think about it, your head's constantly exposed, whether you have thick hair or not. And believe it or not, a lot of people have skin cancer or precancer in their scalp, and they don't know it because they can't see it. Another area of concerns right here.
Oh, interesting. Elbow, forearm.
And people don't check that, and a lot of people get skin cancer, and unfortunately, some people die from it because by the time they catch it, melanoma. Thank you. It'll go undetected, and by the time they catch it, it's too late. And that's, once it gets started, it's one of the most aggressive forms of cancer there is. So I'm very leery, obviously. And but no, when we became lifeguards and they taught us, the number one place they said you needed to protect was the bottom of your feet.
Interesting.
Yep. Because it's the most sensitive, it's the most exposed, it has little pigmentation. And when you're up in the chair, guess what? The sun's reflecting off the water coming straight up on the bottom of your feet.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And guess where the largest percentage of drownings were? In public pools.
In the pool?
Yeah, in the pool. Yes. Not to make light of that moment, right below us when we were in the chair.
Because you had less visibility. Sure.
We're looking out and protecting the rest of the people and did not look down, and we had most of our drownings directly below us. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Yeah. So the life of a lifeguard. So the bottom line is that it was an interesting time. But anyway, once again, as you guys know, we visit real life situations as we start our show, just to get kind of ease into things. So we're glad that you guys put up with us. You learned something about us. We learned something about each other. And so there you go, right? All right. So with that being said, today's topic is going to be a very good one. As you can see, for all of you on the video, it is podcast number 43. And the topic of the day is the critical role that quick start documents can have in your success. Yesterday, we had a great episode. Marie and I have been on a roll. If you guys have not listened to our podcast, and I do see that people are, in fact, interacting with our YouTube channel, our Facebook page. Thank all of you guys in advance. Once again, we're so humbled. We do say that a lot, but we don't say it enough, because without you guys, there is no show. But the point is that if you are not familiar with us, or if you have not visited our YouTube channel, there is a treasure trove of wonderful, insightful, and helpful information that you will not get anyplace else. We harp on that because we're the only ones, the one and only, the original, that talks about everything network marketing. And we want to make sure you're empowered with the proper information so that you could utilize this business model to do something special this year, not next year, not the year after. Start today. And you can do that with the information we share with you. And today is no different. It tags into or falls into the same category of what we talked about yesterday. And you can watch and listen to yesterday's podcast on YouTube and SoundCloud, iTunes, etc. That being said, we had a great show yesterday, and last week we had a lot of great shows. And today, just once again, is going to fit right in like a piece of a puzzle into this mosaic picture that we're putting together for people that are starting out. And that includes using proper documents to get your people started. Yesterday, we highlighted the importance of, last week, a quick start. Yesterday, the correct start. And today, to ensure that correct start, because duplication does not happen unless people are doing things correctly. Duplication, I should rephrase that, is going to happen. Is whether it's wrong duplication or right duplication. Obviously, you want the right duplication, because why? You want the business model and the numbers and network marketing working with you instead of against you. And if you don't get your people off on the right step, guess what? They're in trouble. You're in trouble. And it's going to be hard. You pretty much sponsored somebody, Miss Marie, that you'll probably never get back on track. So you wasted that moment. You got excited because you finally signed somebody up. And because you didn't follow the steps and you got them off on the wrong step, you have sabotaged not only their business, but yours too. And you're going to lose sleep over it tonight, which we just talked about a moment ago. But anyway, the point is, you're going to lose sleep over it because you realize you made a mistake. And if you don't correct it immediately, and I mean right away, don't wake them up at midnight. That's not the point. But if you don't correct it right away, meaning the next day or later that afternoon, whatever the case may be, and say, oh, wait a minute, I made a boo-boo. We got to do this. I told you this, but that's wrong. You're in big trouble, because they are going to get off on the wrong step, which is going to duplicate throughout there, especially if they're a go-getter. When they start taking action right away, oh, man, that is not going to be good. Right, Miss Marie?
That is correct. And that's the first few days you have somebody in your business as a new partner are absolutely critical, because they're coming in with hopes and dreams and goals, and they're excited about the opportunity. They've caught the vision and they want to get off on the right start, and they're looking to you to guide them on that correct path. And if you start doing things in a correct manner and they start seeing positive results, that's going to motivate them to continue. And it will help them when things don't necessarily go the way they want, or they start struggling a little bit and the prospects aren't signing up and that type of thing, because they've seen that it can work and they've had a taste of that success. They will stick to it and keep going. If you get them off on the wrong foot and you start a bad pattern with them, they're not getting good results, they're going to lose that fire pretty quick.
Yeah.
And they're either going to fall away or they're going to become one of the negative Nellies in your organization. It's just going to become problematic both for them and for you, as Rob said. So it's so important to get people off on the right start. And these quick start documents are essential to make that happen.
Yes. And where do you get those documents? Only through us.
Yep. I was going to say, you can start out at themlmsolution.net.
God, boy, what a great segue. There it is on the screen, guys. There's the web address right there. And there's our hashtag where you can find us on the various social media platforms. But she is absolutely correct. And guys, think about it. The only place you're going to get this kind of documentation. And look, when we used to go to the Worldwide Dream Builders, which was Ron Pereira's events, Ron Pereira always used, and I love the simplicity and the humbleness of the man and the simplicity of which he operated. And one of the ways that he did that, you know, he's on stage and he's speaking to thousands because he had a private jet. And not that that's important, but I mean, and he had to get one spot to the other, because you got to realize his organization spread across the world. And when he had like what they call a family reunion, he would have some in California. He would have one in California, which would include people from Nevada and Arizona and et cetera. Okay. Or you have it in California and one in Arizona or one in Texas, where the people in that southwestern region could go to. So he would fly from one event to the other. And you know what he did? On his speeches, he used index cards. Well, guys, why did he do that? He knew that speech frontwards and backwards. You know why? He always said, I want to make sure I cover every subject, and I don't want to put it to memory, because I'll cheat you if I do forget. Well, guess what? That's exactly what we're talking about. You got to use those checklists, even though you've used them 100 times before. You got to use these quick start documents in the checklist for a reason. Why? Not for you, because you know them and you could recite them in your sleep. Why? To make sure that Marie got off on the right step, and that Marie sees that you're using this document or documents, to what? To ensure, and you got to verbalize that, Miss Marie, we're using this, to make sure that we cover everything and make sure that you get off on the right step, because it's critical. In order for the duplication process to take place, we've got to start everybody the same way. Okay. And Marie will get that, because she understands that duplication is part of this business model. She understands the importance of it. And she loves hearing those words. She'll be like, the confidence in you is going to go up. In other words, Marie's confidence in Rob is going to go up, because what? She sees Rob literally filling out the form if they're in person. Or Marie and Rob are filling it out together, okay, while they're doing a Zoom meeting or a Skype meeting, okay? The point is that she sees the activity, the physical activity of following those forms to make sure that they covered everything, okay? And that is accountability not only to yourself, to Rob, but to Marie as well. Okay. And she's going to be so impressed. She's going to say, these people, Rob, have their act together. Not only do they know what they're doing, not only do they have the experience, not only do I feel very comfortable working with them, and I love this new approach that I've learned through them, but you know what? They're professional. They're doing it right. They have checklists. They have steps. They have a quick start program. That is phenomenal. And that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. And her confidence in the business building system and in Rob is going to be sky high. And she's going to know that if she has a problem, chances are great that Rob either has the knowledge or has the ability to get the answer or has documentation or training that will help her get over that hurdle. Miss Marie, I can't state it any better than that those quick start documents, and that's the key. You guys, you got to get a quick and correct start on your new people. Miss Marie, I can't think of a better way to do it than to follow the checklist and we'll talk about the documents here in a moment, but you got to do those things. If you don't, you are dead in the water, and so are your new people. And you wasted all that effort in recruiting.
Yeah, and what you're doing by getting your partner off to the right start and employing these documents is you are actually demonstrating to them the system and how it works and how simple it is, so they can see exactly how it's done. They can recognize the fact that, yes, they can do this too. Plus, you're using the tools that they're going to be using inside of that system as they're building these quick start documents. So they're seeing how the tools are incorporated into the system, how it works step by step, how simple it actually is. And they start recognizing the fact that, well, if Rob can do this and it's this easy and he's become successful at it, I can do the same thing. It's a simple process to follow. So that's how you get them started off doing those consistent and correct business building activities.
Yes, absolutely. And additionally, you have to realize that if you don't do these steps, if you say, well, you know what, I really don't need to do these things, you are putting your future and their future at peril, period. I can't make it any more clear that we're not going to harp on it. We're not going to beat it to death. That's the point. Okay. And Miss Marie, let's kind of start. Let's talk a little bit. Now, we forgot the gong. Yes, I get it, guys. We forgot the gong. We're just going to have to move on. We're too far into the show to do that. We'll blame the producer. By golly, I'll get on his butt after we get off the air. All right. So anyway, I know that you guys missed that. The point is that we're going to talk about the documents. And the documents we're talking about are documents that, as far as I know, Miss Marie, I obviously don't know all the business building systems out there, but I'm familiar with some of the great leaders out there, and even they do not have the depth. And the one thing we don't want to do, guys, is overwhelm you with paperwork. That is not what we're doing. Miss Marie, you can attest. You've seen them. You've been editing them. You've been reviewing them. You can see that our documents are short and to the point. There is nothing complicated about it. My 14-year-old granddaughters could do it. There is no doubt. Would you say that?
Oh, I would totally agree with that. And that's one of the things we've really been focusing on. These are materials that you've had for a long time that we're reviewing, and we're tightening up and trying to make them as efficient and effective as possible.
Yes. And some things have changed in the networking, believe it or not. It's not a static industry. It's a fluid environment like anything else. And so we've had, as she stated, had them tighten things up. And that's all we've done. We haven't changed the premise of the documents at all. All we've done is, Miss Marie gets it. She reads it. She says, "Oh, yeah, okay, but she's the more how would you say grammatically correct individual of the two of us, and she makes sure that the documents are concise and clear in the message that they're presenting. So that's what we're doing. But the point is that they're simple, easy documents. They are not designed to burden you down with additional frivolous bullcrap, because we understand and we want you to do what? To take action. That's what we want you to do. But you got to take correct action. And you got to realize that these documents, we said a moment ago, there's more than just the document. The power of that document is this. It is instilling confidence in Marie. We said it a moment ago, well, I got to make this clear. That's the purpose of the document. and to make sure you don't miss any steps, because the critical part is duplication. You've got to ensure that each person gets off on the right step and do so quickly. That's what these documents do. It instills that confidence in your new people that they have a hold of something special. And Miss Marie, one of the things we're going to be talking about is, in fact, the document that you just recently reviewed. I think you're done reviewing it. But the thing is that it's our checklist. The business building checklist. Now we're kind of jumping a little bit because we're assuming that Miss Marie's already in it. Miss Marie's run into a problem, but guess what? Miss Marie's going to run into problems in her first few days. Okay, that's still part of getting them off on the right step. It's not like I trained Marie joined yesterday, Monday. We start Marie's training today because she didn't have the time yesterday. We started it. She's open to it. She's aggressive. She's been in networking before. She totally gets it. We're starting her training today. She understands and recognizes a quality training program when she sees it. It's short and to the point and clear, okay? And the thing is that as she takes off today and starts building a business, by this Friday, she runs into a problem she's not encountered before, okay? Well, that checklist can make a huge difference. It might be something, that problem that she ran into, Rob knows off of the top of his head, okay? And because she's prior networking, her and I are on the same page. Well, that's great. But what if she doesn't? Okay. We lost Miss Marie. Don't know what happened. Bam, she's gone. But anyway, we'll continue on. Here's the thing. Miss Marie may run into something that she's never encountered before. So we pull out what? I tell her, I say, hey, Miss Marie, here's the thing. We need to do this checklist. And Miss Marie said, well, why do we need to do that? You have the knowledge and experience to evaluate this without a checklist. Yes, you're absolutely correct, Miss Marie, but here's the thing. Here's the power of it. As you sponsor your people, the power of this checklist is that they see that Rob or Marie is serious about this business. They want to make sure that they help them in the best way possible. And this checklist allows them to physically see that these people are professionals, that they're focused, they're organized, and they understand how this business works. And that's why they're using the checklist. It also puts the responsibility back off of Rob and onto Marie. I'm holding her accountable to, there she is. She's back now. Let's add her to. Did you have to go and fix a cup of coffee?
I have no idea what happened there.
Well, you know what? It was the tech giants. You said something wrong. And they kicked you off. That's what it was. They're listening in. It was Russia. That's it. It's Russia.
I got bit by the gremlins again. That's 2 days in a row now. What is going on?
I know it. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so the point is that we only use the checklist with Marie if, in fact, she runs into something that she has not encountered before. Okay. And then when she says, well, Rob, why is it that you need to use a checklist? You have the experience and knowledge to not use this. Yes, Marie, you're absolutely correct. But here's the thing. This is not only for you, because I do, in fact, have that knowledge, but it's for your people you sponsor. Once again, this checklist identifies the potential problems that Miss Marie may not have thought of, even though she's prior networking. And she might go, oh, you know what? I never thought of that. I'm glad we did this checklist. And then what does it do? It shows her the power of that checklist. It shows her that she needs to use it. And Rob's going to tell her, Miss Marie, don't ever hesitate to use this checklist with your new people. It is powerful because it instills, once again, and reinforces the confidence in the business building system, and more importantly, installs and reinforces their confidence in you, Miss Marie, because they know that you're being professional, that you have the document, you have the system, and that you guys are serious, because only serious people pull out things like this, okay? And they'll say, oh, okay, and they get it. And it also shifts the responsibility from me, Rob, to Marie, where it belongs, because she's the one that's making the mistake if we find mistakes in her process. It's not to say bad girl, shame on you, okay? That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is helping her to say, oh, you know what? I never thought about that. Okay, cool. So there again, it's a wonderful document, and it is not a quote unquote a quick start document per se, but it is a part of the correct start process. And I wanted to make that example because I did not want that document to be overshadowed. There's a reason why I started with that document in particular, because it does play a role. Just because it's not the first day of her activity doesn't mean that she is, one day is not the quick start. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way. Everybody's quick start's a little bit different. Okay. And you say, well, Rob, when is it then that when they're not in a quick start? I'll be honest with you, Miss Marie, my experience has shown me that it takes 2 weeks to 3 weeks for people to quote unquote get over their quick start. And you said, well, what do you mean? Because those first couple of weeks is where they learn their message, where they start to get comfortable with it, where the confidence starts to go up. It's not fair to put the pressure on them that you got to succeed right out of the gate. Let's go. What's wrong with you? Blah, 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 and beat them up with the documents. It is a process. Some people are going to adapt quicker than others. And what you have to do is realize that some people may spend 3 weeks out of their first month just trying to get their feet under them. But once they do, they may skyrocket. You've got to be patient with them and realize this is still part of the quick start process. Rob, when is the quick start process over? It's over when you don't hear from Marie anymore because she got it. Okay. And I'll follow up with her, Marie. I haven't heard from you while we talked about this in one of our earlier episodes, like number 9, 10, whatever. Miss Marie, are you okay? I haven't heard from you. Yep. I can see she's got activity in the back when I log into my back office. Okay. So I know she's still around. I know she's doing things, but I haven't heard from her. Now that's a good thing. But at the same time, what am I supposed to do? Remember when we talked about identify and work with leaders, and that's a great episode. You need to go and listen to that. One of the things you do, Miss Marie, is you follow up and you say, hey, this is Rob. I see you're still sponsoring people. You're doing well. Is there anything you need help with? She appreciates that distance, but she also appreciates, hey, they still are concerned about me. They're not just riding my back. They're not just saying, oh, okay, I got her going. Ride her to success, put that saddle on her and ride her, to the top of the mountain. No, she's like, okay, he still treat me as a person. I'm not an entity. I'm not a pathway to his success. I am, in fact, a valuable, important person in his organization. He still cares about what I'm doing. That's the reason why you do that. Okay, so the answer to it is that when you don't hear from Marie, whether that's the second week, the third week, whatever, and she is producing, because you can see it, that is when that quick start process has gone away, okay? Because it's obvious by the back office that she's doing what she needs to do. She's producing, meaning that she's doing the right things. Look, her volume's not going to increase if duplication is not taking effect. If she's not teaching the threshold of profitability, if she's not getting her people off on the right step, if they're not doing the correct processes, they're not going to create volume. Right, Miss Marie?
Yeah, that's accurate. And I would agree. You talk about the quick start time period. It's really going to be dictated by the business partner you're working with, how motivated they are to get going, how much time they have to spend on this aspect of their business. But typically that quick start time period, you're talking 10 to 30 days max. If you're beyond the 30-day point, you're no longer in a quick start. You've got a grinder going on there.
That's right. And Miss Marie, there will be people that would say, Rob, will you go over it with me again? Because I've kind of forgotten. And folks, I will do that with them again, but I'll let them know, okay, look, we're going to do this one more time, but I don't have time to do this over and over. Look, this is not to be mean. Okay. I don't mind clarifying. I totally get it. It can be overwhelming and maybe forgetful. We're all that way. Okay. There's nothing wrong with somebody saying, can you help me clarify? I don't remember. I'll take better notes, whatever the case may be, but I'll let them know, look, we can't do this over and over and over, because then you're managing your business instead of building your business. Okay. And so here's the thing. I let them know up front. Yes, I'll do that with you. That's not a problem. Okay. And we're only going to do this for a half hour. Make sure you have your questions written out and let's go through this process again, but here's the thing. I tell them, say, look, I'd rather, instead of go through the whole process, I'd rather focus on what the issues are. And you say, Rob, what does that mean? I'm going to do what? Miss Marie, I'm going to do the business building checklist again. You know why? Because it's going to help me zero in on what the real problem is and address it. Instead of going through the whole quick start process again, I'm going to go and use the checklist. And you said, well, Rob, what if it wasn't the things to do with the business building? Maybe they're doing all that right, but it's the documentation that's throwing them for a loop. We'll know that when I get to the end of the checklist. And if everything on the checklist is good, then I'm going to say, okay, it's obvious you're doing things great. That's awesome. And that reinforces their belief in the system. And they'll say, yeah, I got that. I appreciate you going through that again. But here's my real issue. And if it's a documents, guess what? Then I can focus on that. And once again, I'm going to ask specific questions so we can get to, I don't want to go over the whole document. I want to focus in on what that particular issue is with that document, not the whole document. Okay. And I'm not going to rewrite the document. I don't want their input on what they think the document should say. That's going to stop right away because history has shown that what's on those documents is correct. Okay. I don't mind input. People have given me input over the years. Rob, you ought to put this in and you ought to put that. I said, well, you know what? I said, do me a favor, email me that and let me look at it and evaluate it. And I will. I don't tell them that just to blow smoke. I'll look at it. But if it's not worthy, I ain't putting it in there. Because my goal is not to make it more complicated and longer. It's to keep it simpler and shorter.
Right. Well, and to go back to your point of, the folks that are like, oh, can we kind of go through this quick start process again? Ideally, what you'd like to be able to do is have that person prospecting, bringing somebody into their business and walking through the quick start process with them, with their new partner.
Yes.
So it's almost a training ground. So it's a refresh for them on exactly how to do it as you're helping them get their new business partner off on the correct start as well. So that would be the ideal way to quote unquote do a review of the quick start process with your business partner, is their first one or two partners that they bring in, go through the process with them.
Right. So when you have, and she's right, and that's a good point. And as you look, when you go through the package, and we'll talk about the next document here in a minute. When you go through the quick start package, what you get when you become a member is that you'll see that the documents that are in there are all very short. They all supplement each other. They all complement each other. And they're designed that way. Each one of them addresses a certain subject, but they're all designed to make the getting started process as quick and as efficient and productive as possible, so that you can hear my little, he's on a roll today talking. He's just happy as can be. Boy, he's just talking up a storm. So I'm going to let the joy of his voice continue on because he's in a great mood today. So the thing is each one of those documents are designed for a specific reason, but they all complement and support one another. Another document that we talk about, Miss Marie, which I think you recently reviewed, was the step-by-step process. And even though we have the checklist, that is to evaluate the business building process, the business building steps that Marie is taking in an effort to build her business. The step-by-step guide is this. It makes people physically check, have I done this step? And it's the 5 simple steps. And there's 2 5 simple steps in there, which I'm not going to get into great detail about. One of them is setting up the foundation, and the other one is the actual 5 simple steps themselves. And what it is, it's forcing you to check those off. It is a self-checklist to make sure that not only are you doing it, but when I sign Marie up, we're going to go through that document, okay? And we're going to go through and we're going to say, okay, Marie, this is what this document's for. Here's why you put the checks in here. Here's what the effect of putting those checks in there. And it's holding Marie accountable, and it's reinforcing what I've been telling her verbally, okay, and what she's been reading. Now it's almost like she's signing a contract with herself, okay? And what she's doing is she's checking these as we go through. And we say, Marie, this is the things that are important in getting your people off to the correct step. And we'll go through it and we'll check them off as we address each and every one of those and say, Marie, do you have any questions about that? Is that clear? Okay. And in there, in that document, there's links to additional documents for further clarification, videos, audios, whatever, so that Marie, if Rob's not around, she can go once again and refresh her memory. And that's the awesome thing about our support in our members area, is that you have constant 24/7 access if Rob's not around to clarification material on these documents. So anyway, that step-by-step guide, Miss Marie, you just evaluated it. You just reviewed it. And I'm sure you see the importance of it and the reason and the purpose behind it as well.
Oh, absolutely. You can't get any more simple. Now, like most things with business, we want to be careful about saying easy, because there are struggles with everything, and you have to put in the time, the effort, do the work, right? But it is simple. Anybody can follow it, and anybody can ride it to a successful business.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, that is just a document. To be honest with you, Miss Marie, you may only have to fill out once, okay? Because it is a guide that Rob, a step-by-step process. It's something that Marie can look back after she completed it if she so chooses. But here's the importance of it. I signed Marie up. One of the first things we do after we talk about the 5 simple steps and we go through the process, and we have a training video that literally takes you step by step. This is what you do first when you sign up a new person. This is what you do next. Here's a document you fill out. We have all that. And here's the thing. When we fill that document out, Marie and I are doing it right there on the spot simultaneously, okay? And the purpose of it, once again, is to make sure she clearly understands the 5 simple steps, how to set up the foundation for a successful business, and to answer any potential questions, as that document literally solidifies and crystallizes the whole process. When her and I get done, there is no question in her mind what she needs to do, what her responsibilities are, what the results should be, what the 5 steps are, et cetera, et cetera. So there is no doubt. Okay. So then after we do that, we go to what? The 90-day goal sheets. Okay. The 90-day mini blast goal sheets, to be more precise. Also, there's an example form that's filled out there. And what it is, first, we talk about the 90-day goal list. And what that goal list does, let's see if I have one. We'll bring it up on screen real quick. I think we do, Miss Marie. So the people on the video can at least see what it is we're talking about. Here it is right here. All right. It covers up our pretty faces. Now, that's not good. All right. Here it is, the 90-day master goal sheet. You can see it says setting up your goals for the 90-day mini blast. It has a beginning date and an end date. Okay, it has your personal goals and dreams, your reason for doing the business. There's your why. Miss Marie, we just did an episode on their why. And this goes hand in hand with that particular episode. Okay, so you've established all of that at the top before you even get down here at the bottom. Look at the left side. Okay. Here's the 90-day goals right here. And it's number of people to sponsor, number of leaders, number of pin level that you want to achieve, your income, your personal volume that you want to be doing by the end of 90 days, your group volume you want it to be done. And here's one of the most important things on here, because we talk about, Miss Marie, I don't know if we've done an episode on it, but this business is all about the back end. Now, don't get confused with the essence of the business. The essence of the business is to find and work with your leaders. Okay. The lifeline of the business is leads, a constant source of leads. All of that is totally different. The back end is the auto ship. It's all about the back end. It's all about the number of people that in your business, your organization, your income, your lifestyle is all based on the number of people that are on auto ship. It's all about the back end. Okay. And you say, well, Rob, you say that the leaders is the essence of the business. The number of leaders. Yes, that's true. You got to remember, the leaders determine the size of your business, the stability of your business, and the profitability of your business. Why? Because they're leaders. They set the example. They set the pace. People look up to them. People follow them. People go to them. They are the essence of the business. If you don't have them, you don't have a business. It will fall apart because nobody will stand up and be a leader to lead that particular group. But when it's all said and done, this business is about what? Volume. The more volume you create, the bigger paycheck you get. Okay. Which means the number of people you have on auto ship is essential to your success. So once again, a golden nugget that you'll never learn anyplace else. And at the bottom down there, it says the number of people that you have doing 100 PV. You say, well, Rob, isn't that the same as the number of people you have on auto ship? No, because you could have somebody on auto ship that's a customer that is, guess what, only doing 35 PV. That's totally different than the number of people that is doing 100 PV, which is a threshold of profitability, which shows a totally different important statistic than the number of people you have on the auto ship. Okay. Where else are you going to learn that information? No place else. Do you see the power of this document? Do you see why you fill it out when you're in your quick start package that we offer? And then on the right side, you see the results at the end of your 90 days. This helps you identify any potential weak areas. It helps you to identify whether you want to do this business anymore, or whether you're doing really good, met your targets, or if you fell short. It's a powerful document. And here's an example of your starting point. This is the progress graph. It goes hand in hand with this. They look different, but they go together. They're the same thing. Your starting point is your day one. This particular sheet, because we have 30, 60, and 90 day graphs. Okay. This one's a weekly one. You can see that there. And what have I done? I filled it out. Okay. With actual numbers, what's actually taking place in my business. Okay. And you can see the steps up there. That goes hand in hand here. This weekly progress is helping me get to my end goals, which are on the right side. So enough of that. The point is that these documents go hand in hand with the checklist we talked about, with the step-by-step guide that we talked about. Okay. And guys, that is it. There's no other documents.
Yeah, well, it's creating a clear path to achieving your goals, right? We've talked previously about the fact that you need to write your goals down.
Yeah.
You need to know where you're going, what your target is, and then you want to be able to track your progress during the course of that 90 days and
That's
see
right.
where you ended up. So the combination of being able to track your progress, and maybe the numbers aren't playing out the way you want, that's when you go back and you revisit that checklist to make sure you're following all the steps appropriately and making adjustments, right? Because we talk about all the time, Rob, it's all about the numbers, right?
Yeah.
And it's numbers in the business. It's the numbers that you're tracking as you're trying to achieve your goals.
Yes.
It gives you a way to actually see in black and white whether you are on the right track or not. And if you're not, it allows you to make the adjustment that you need to achieve your goals.
No, and yes. And the thing is, guys, look, the checklist is an accountability process that we endorse and promote. Why? Because if something happens to Marie and I, you guys have all the proper tools to continue on. Okay. If the MLM solution goes away one day and is never on the internet again, and you have downloaded all the documents, guess what? You don't have anything to worry about. You have a blueprint to success for years to come, because the process never changes. We talk about that. The truth never changes. The truth is internal. It never changes. And it's no different here. The basics of this industry do not change. All of the things that we have are based on the fundamental principles and the truth of this business building process. Okay, so these documents are relevant no matter when you use them. 20 years from now, it's going to be the same thing. So the point is that these documents are imperative to your success because they do what she says. Not only does it show you positive progress towards your goals, but it also shows your weaknesses, where you may have to shore some things up, okay, or potential problems. And it also helps keep you motivated and focused. When you're looking at this progress graph and you're filling it out, you may not be happy with some of the numbers on there. Well, after your first month, don't be too hard on yourself, okay, because that is typical, okay? It's unusual to have a superstar person in this business that's going to fill this document out. And for all you on the podcast, I'm bringing the document up on a regular basis to make a point. It's unusual for there to be a superstar that will fill it out like you see right here. Okay. The point is that everybody's going to have different graphs. And the thing is, as long as there's no zeros on this right here, you are making progress. Are you making the progress in the time frame you want, in the way you want? Maybe not at the beginning, but be patient with yourself. This is a long game. And remember, you can hit the reset button anytime you want and start your 90 days over. Okay. And remember, you have 90 days. I've seen Miss Marine people get off on a rough start for the first 6 weeks. And then in the last part of their 90-day mini blast, just really get on fire and really make up ground. Okay. And remember, guys, the 90-day mini blast doesn't necessarily have to end at 90 days. There's reasons why you want to, but there's also just as good and equally important reasons that you can stretch those 90 days out to 115 days. If you're on a roll, you certainly do not want to hit the reset button. Okay. And so what? It took 150 days. Who flipping cares? The purpose of the 90-day mini blast is to create speed and urgency. And one of the ways you do that is by putting down solid goals at 90-day mark and saying, I got to shoot after that. And also the 90 days coincides with the company's growth that you're with. If it's a new company, they have quarterly goals as well. And guess what? Sometimes they hit those, sometimes they don't. When they don't hit them, guess what? They say, okay, in the next quarter, we will. We came close, we'll make some adjustments, and we'll continue on. The company is literally doing its own 90-day shots like you are. Okay, the beauty for you is you can stretch your 90-day process into 115. A company can't. Bookkeeping wise, they have, and CPA wise, they have to cut it off in 90 days because that's how they do their quarterly. That's how they do their taxes, everything else. You, on the other hand, don't have to do that if you don't want to. So there's nothing wrong with taking it out to 115 days. So don't beat yourself up over that.
And Rob, you mentioned something I want to highlight here, the fact that in the 90-day mini blast, oftentimes people have a rough time early on, and then it really kind of picks up steam kind of towards the back end, right? So you have to keep in mind that that is not uncommon.
No.
This is a business of duplication and a compounding effect. So keep in mind the first, week, maybe 2, 3, 4, up to 6 weeks, as Rob mentioned, you're kind of getting your feet under you. You're getting your balance. You're getting things figured out. You're getting that music to their ears message down. You're figuring out what's going on and you're getting comfortable. And while the results may not be exactly what you want, if your 90-day goal is to have 100 people and you figure that out over each 10-day period, you're looking at getting 12 people every 10 days, and your first 10 days elapse and you have 2 people. Well, you're off course, right? Not necessarily. Things are going to pick up on the back end and be faster. So you can't expect, like in a normal workaday world, that things are going to be exactly even week to week, right? Things are going to tend to pick up more on the back end. So that's where you need to have that resilience, that stick-to-itiveness, and the persistence to keep on going.
Absolutely.
And the other advantage in filling out these documents is not only are you able to track your goals for yourself, but it gives your upline, your mentor, something to work with you specifically so they can see exactly the activity that you're doing. They may be able to catch something very quickly and help you correct course to actually make up ground and then achieve those goals that you're after. And as you duplicate that process with the business partners you bring in, same thing happens, right? They're filling out their goal sheets, they're tracking their information. That allows you to help them in the same manner.
Well put, and that is correct. And you guys, you got to realize that once you get the ball rolling, if, like she said, if your success starts to come on the back end of that 90-day process, you got to realize that getting that going is magical. And you do not want to jeopardize that by stopping and saying, well, I didn't do it in the purest form. In other words, day 1 to day 90. No, don't do that. That is a huge mistake. You get the ball rolling in this business model, you better run with it, okay? And if you want to take your 90 days and stretch it out to 180 days, that's up to you. If you have the staying power and you want to get it done, I mean, look what Richard Call did. Okay. And like I said, I can't remember if it was 90 days or 180 days. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. The point is, he didn't stop until his wife got sick. Okay. And look what he built. One of the largest organizations in networking history. Okay. You can do the same. Okay. Most people do not have the staying power to do anything beyond 90 days. Most people do 90 days. And to be honest with you, 90 days, if you do it right, will create an incredible lifestyle income. You can go as far as you want. Okay. But don't expect your people. You still got to teach the 90 days. Okay. There's a reason for it. You don't have to limit them. And here's the thing. You say, well, Rob, what if my people, I have one or two people that want to be like me? Well, guess what? If you stay in touch with them like you're supposed to, like we train you, and not leave them out there by themselves where they feel like they're just an entity instead of a human. If you work with them, stay in touch with them, build a professional relationship with them, they may contact you and say, hey, look, I really got this thing on a roll. Am I supposed to stop, or what am I supposed to do? You can tell them what we just told you, okay? But don't bring it up to everybody, just the people that ask, okay? Or you may have some people that are kind of introverted a little bit. And here's the thing. If I see Marie and I see that she's really rolling and she's coming up on her 80th day, and almost week by week, she's got pin rank advancement in her business, her volume's going up, her 2,000-3,000 group volume per week or maybe more, then guess what? I'm going to contact her and say, Marie, let's talk, okay? And then I'm going to tell her, say, Marie, look, you're on a roll, and to be honest with you, I'd encourage you to continue to go. If you have the staying power, if you have the fortitude to go past that 90 days, then I would encourage you to do it, because you only get this chance once in a lifetime. You may never get it again, Miss Marie. Even if you go from one company to another, and these 5 simple steps are ingrained in you for the rest of your life, and you know this process frontwards and backwards, it does not mean that you will have the same opportunity, the same process happen with another company that you do here. Imagine people like Jerry Campese and all them stopping. New Skin was on a growth curve. They call it a hyper growth company for 10 years. Imagine them stopping. They didn't build the whole 10 years, but the point is they were active. They became the figureheads. They became, guess what? Their incomes were going. Jerry told me, he said, man, that was the most incredible thing. I never thought I would encourage or encounter anything like that. Guys, that's what I'm saying. So you don't want to discourage anyone from taking that bull by the horns and riding it for as long as it can go if Marie has the staying power. Okay, so it's my job as a leader to get in touch with her on her 80th day, if that's what I choose, and say, Marie, let's talk. Okay, but Miss Marie, 90 days is critical process and cycle because it taps into the growth of a new company, their quarterly goals. And guys, you got to be a part of that process. It's the reason why 90 days is so important. And Miss Marie, the most important thing in the 90 days, without interrupting you, is people need to stick their head up at the 90-day mark and say, where am I?
Yeah, you wanna do that evaluation. You want to have a time limit on it, because you don't want it to be an open-ended thing. It's the same reason we're writing down numbers and goals, correct?
Yes.
You want to have a time frame that you're working in. It creates that sense of urgency, and gives you a timeline to work within to achieve those numbers. Otherwise, if there's no end in sight, what's the motivation? That's where people will struggle.
Yes, exactly. There has to be an end game. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. But you have to give Marie an opportunity to make her own decision. And as a leader, it's my job to say, Marie, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm not going to convince you one way or the other. But here's what you need to consider. And then just leave it at that. Marie makes her own decision. Okay. But the thing is, if you're on a roll, you definitely do not want to stop. There is no doubt. Unless you're just sponsoring people and the comp plan is maxed out, you're just wasting your time. We talked about that yesterday too. But that's a story for another day. But anyway, guys, those are the documents we're talking about. The checklist. We're talking about the step-by-step guide. We're talking about the goal sheet, the progress sheet. It's all in a package, okay? And there's a couple other documents, mostly not documents, pages. I was totally lost there. They go with these, but they're more descriptive and clarifying instruction that goes with these than an actual form to fill out. Once again, you can see the power of these. You can see the importance of these. They're there for a reason. Time has shown, time has proven that these are necessary documents and that they're critical in your success, especially getting people started the right way quickly. And that's what we're talking about here. Yesterday's episode and today's episode, yesterday's was about Miss Marie getting them off to a quick start. And is that correct? Yes.
Getting off to the best start. Correct.
Yeah,
start.
the great start.
Yep.
And which means correct start. And then the episode that we had before was about getting them off on the correct start. Okay. And we talked about how important it was to do things correctly. We didn't talk about the documents. We're doing that today. So if you listen to yesterday's episode, which would have been September 14th for all of you that are looking on the YouTube channel, and you go and look for the other getting them off on the correct start, I think it was, Miss Marie, the title. I have to look. And you look at today's September 15th, guys, those 3 videos together will train you on everything that you need to know to do one thing. The whole purpose of these 3 videos is to ensure duplication has a chance to start. And it is absolutely critical that it gets off on the right start. That's the reason why we're promoting these documents. We wanted you to know these documents exist and how they work and the role they play in your success. If you don't do them, Miss Marie, you're leaving your business open to chance. And chance doesn't always go your way, right? Lady Luck has her own mind.
Well, you want to be prepared for the opportunity when it shows up, right?
Yes. And you know what, Miss Marie, you can go to bed at night knowing that if you use the documents, you do them correctly, you promote them, you go to bed knowing, you know what, I did everything I could do. I did what I was supposed to do. Okay. And that is really comforting, Miss Marie. Instead of carrying that little dark cloud around you, or where knowing that in your heart that you're not using the documents, or you're not doing them correctly, or you're shortchanging them, which means you're shortchanging your people and your business. And when you go to bed at night, you're restless because you know you didn't do things the right way. If you do things the right way, you go to bed, you're comfortable, you're relaxed, you're confident, your own confidence is sky high because you know that if something goes wrong, well, it wasn't because I didn't do the right thing, right? There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It eliminates the struggle that a lot of network marketers go through, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to do it, not knowing where to go for the help necessarily, because oftentimes, again, people come into a network marketing opportunity via a friend or family member that's relatively new to it as well. And you develop this chain of a group of people not really knowing what to do and not being able to help. So this definitely solves that problem. It maps it out very well. And this combination of episodes that Rob's been talking about, we talk about what it is you're after and exactly how to do it. So it's creating a toolkit for you that's going to be of tremendous value.
Absolutely. And on top of that, Miss Marie, the whole process helps you identify and fix a problem. And that is very important because you're going to have problems. I mean, that's just the way it is. Even though we teach you guys and have all this documentation, all these training videos, guys, that does not mean that you're not going to have problems. It doesn't mean you're not going to have challenges, okay? Because you're dealing with human beings. So you're going to have issues. And you got to have the ability to identify them and fix them. And then we teach you that. And once again, Ms. Maria, I don't know any place else that people can go to get this depth of insight, help, guidance, and support. I have no idea where you go. You look at all the documentation, you look at all the experience behind these documents, you look at the knowledge that was used to create these documents, and you look at the simplicity of the documents and how short they are. Well, that's a wonderful combination that, to be honest with you, is going to be hard to beat no matter who it is.
Yep, that is absolutely accurate. And as always, if you like what you're hearing, if you understand what we're saying here, give us a thumbs up, let us know. Feel free to comment on our various social media channels as well. We'd love to hear back from you, those little epiphanies that you get, those aha moments, or if you have any questions, anything you'd like to hear us talk about. Perhaps our episode today, yesterday, has sparked a question in your mind that perhaps we can do a deeper dive on for you. We're happy to do that. We are here to bring value to you in achieving your goals and helping your business partners do the exact same. So in that regard, please like, comment, and share our various social media platforms. Let your team know that this information is available to them as well. Why spend the time trying to communicate something when you can just provide them the tool, right? So subscribe to our YouTube channel, register for notifications by clicking on that bell. That'll let you know when we're going live, or at least when we have some new information available to you. And be sure to visit our website, themlmsolution.net. We have a tremendous amount of information there for you, some of it free, some of it access members area only, which is coming soon. But do check out themlmsolution.net. And if you're looking for us on any of the social media platforms, you can search hashtag #TheMLMSolution to find us.
Well done. I'm impressed. That was absolutely awesome. Well, I'm sorry about the gong today, guys, but those things happen. I forgot, and I'll beat myself up, slap myself around after the episode is over. And for tomorrow, guys, tomorrow's subject is going to be growing business versus stable business. Okay. Growing business versus stable business. They're not one and the same. Believe me, you can have a growing business that's not stable. And but you want both at the same time. And if you don't know how to do that, once again, you're only going to learn how to make that happen here. Okay. And believe it or not, you could have a stable business that's not growing. It can go both ways. We're going to talk about that. And believe me, you don't want to miss that episode. Join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please share our information with our fellow network marketers all across the globe so they too can have access to this wonderful information so they can utilize it through this amazing business model. That way they can change their lives as well. So with that being said, Miss Marie, let's get off of here. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Thank you for listening to the MLM Solution Podcast. For more info, visit our website, themlmsolution.net. Please follow us on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, etc. And share this podcast with our fellow network marketers around the world by hitting the share button on our various platforms.